Hello to everyone in TV land. This is Focus on Liberia online television, and you're listening to the Focus on Liberia Daily News with Gwendolyn Dorado. I bring you the headlines. Civil Service Agency announced the immediate lifting of the ban on new employment and employee transfers between and within government entities. More than 200 inhabitants of Neba County risk getting major illness as the creek used for drinking purpose is contaminated by rock particles emitting from the Chinese quarry plant setup. Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations launches two-day knowledge sharing workshop to promote responsible agriculture investment and food systems among Liberia's lawmakers. Away from home, the World Health Organization has approved the first diagnostic test for mpox, where the results can be immediately known. Those were the headlines. Now the news in details. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations has launched a two-day knowledge-sharing workshop to promote responsible agricultural investment and food systems among Liberia's lawmakers. Held from October 3rd to the 4th at the Farmington Hotel in Mangibe County, the workshop aimed to deepen the legislative branch's understanding of responsible agricultural investments and their vital role in Liberia's sustainable development. The event brought together 25 participants, including representatives, senators, and technical staff from both houses of the Liberian legislature. Also in attendance were members of Liberia's RAI multi-stakeholder platform, which included officials from various ministries, agencies, and commissions who are actively involved in improving the investment landscape for agriculture and food systems. Since the end of its civil crisis, Liberia has faced significant challenges in revitalizing its agriculture sector. Despite the country's rich natural resources, many citizens, particularly those who depend on agriculture for their livelihoods, continue to struggle. The FAO emphasized that responsible investment in agriculture should align with the Committee on World Food Security's principles for responsible investment in agriculture and food systems, ensuring that it benefits communities and promotes long-term development. The creek used for drinking purpose by more than 200 inhabitants of Downtour Zone on the Senequele-Campley Highway in Neba County is contaminated by rock particles emitting from the Chinese quarry plant set up in the community by the China Railway 7th Group, contracted by the Liberian Ministry of Public Works for the upgrading of the 47.1-kilometer long Senequele Locatua Road. A report released by the Environmental Protection Agency on May 1st, 2024, after an assessment visit to the area in April, uncovered a huge pile of mortar dumped by the company and sediments from the mortar leached into the streams each time it rains, thus contaminating the water body. The villagers rely on to fetch drinking water. The findings also noted that blasting of rocks at the quarry emits dust particles in the air that pose a risk to the villagers' health, adding that the company's activities also polluted an open well used as alternative drinking water source by the villagers. The villagers had complained about the pollution of their water sources and their health conditions, thus promoting the investigation by the EPA. Since the report was released by the EPA team, nothing has been done to address the situation as the villagers continue to suffer from the impact of the quarry plant. During a recent visit to the community by the team, the villager expressed outrage over the alleged failure of the company to construct hand pumps for them. Due to the pollution of the streams, The residents claimed that they were advised by a team of visiting environmentalists that were on assessment along the road corridor not to fetch water from the creek for drinking, and so they now have to dig pits in the various swamps to get water. Beatrice Gare, a resident of Henry Ban village, one of the villages under the down tool zone, said children and adults in the community experience a constant runny stomach from the water they are drinking. Torrential rains have severely impacted Riverside County, particularly the Glaya Gold Camp, where at least 24 houses have been flooded. The entire area has been engulfed by flood waters, leaving residents trapped in some reportedly climbing trees to survive. The disaster posed a significant threat to lives and properties locals call for urgent government intervention. Speaking to a local radio station, Maurice Beer, the community's youth chairman, confirmed that three houses have been collapsed. The area is now surrounded by water, with canoes being the only means to escape, and residents are desperately seeking evacuation assistance. Similar challenges have arisen in the ITI area, where three homes have also been destroyed by flooding. Water levels are rising dangerously near the police station in Cardiac Town, endangering the surrounding communities. Beer further explained that people are risking their lives by using makeshift wooden boats owned by Ghanaian miners to cross the swollen Cestus River, trying to reach Buchanan or the southeastern region. Among those stranded are women, children, students, health workers, and business people, highlighting concerns about the safety and well-being of the affected population. In addition, BA highlighted the situation at the Timber River Bridge near Yapa town. While the bridge itself remains intact, floodwaters have breached the Kaya side, connecting Compound 3 to Moe, posing further risks to travelers and residents. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency suspended Director General Colonel Abraham Kuman is suspected to testify in a U.S. 31,625 drugs case. A trial court in Monrovia has subpoenaed Colonel Kumar to testify in the case following defense lawyers' request. The LDEA discovered the drug in Logantown, Bushra Island. The resident judge of the criminal court C. Blamel Dixon issued a rate of subpoenaed decision triggered by a motion made by one of the defense lawyers requesting that Mr. Kumar testified on behalf of the defendants before the court on Friday, October 4th. According to them, the defense lawyer request is to have Colonel Kumar produce evidence regarding the case and wants him to testify on his role and on behalf of the defendants. Additionally, the court subpoenaed the LDA officer in charge, Christopher Peters, to appear on Thursday, October 3rd, along with CCTV footage taken from the home of one of the defendants, George Obi, alias Japan. The Civil Service Agency announced the immediate lifting of the ban on new employment and employee transfers between and within government entities. CSA Director General Josiah Jokai disclosed this during a recent press briefing at the Ministry of Information on Friday, February 16. This year, the Civil Service Agency, under the direction of Mr. Alfred Jose, Then, officer in charge collaborated with the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning to temporarily freeze employee transfers between and within government institutions. This measure aimed to maintain order in staff movements as many entities were still managed by the officers in charge. However, in April 2024, during a subsequent address on the matter, the CSA director announced the lifting of part of the freeze on direct replacements, but indicated the freeze on new hires and transfers will remain in place until the General Auditing Commission conduct a payroll compliance audit. He reminded heads of spending entities of the 2012 Civil Service Standing Orders, particularly Chapter 3 and 4, which require that all human resource movement receive the Director General's approval before implementation. This includes intra and inter-agency transfers, promotions or demotions, direct replacements, and changes to employee payroll account details. He urged that all actions be processed using the appropriate personnel action notices as stipulated in Section 35 of the Civil Service Revised Human Resource Policy Manual of September 2014. The United States Embassy in Liberia has donated 30 high-class laptops and accessories valued at 100,000 United States dollars to the Liberia Revenue Authority to enhance revenue collection. The donation is part of USAID's local empowerment for accountability and decentralization activities. Speaking during the donation at the LRA head office in Painesville on Thursday, October 3rd, the United States Ambassador to Liberia, Mark Turner, said the laptops and accessories are aimed at strengthening the government of Liberia's efforts to strengthen its tax administration. Ambassador Turner noted that as Liberia prepares to transition from goods to services tax to value-added tax, the gesture will play a pivotal role in improving auditors' operations and will also play a key role in tax collection and help move the country forward. Away from Liberia, the World Health Organization has approved the first diagnostic test for mpox where the results can be immediately known, saying it could prove pivotal in helping to stop the rising global cases of the virus. The new PCR test enables the detection of the mpox DNA taken from skin lesion swabs. Currently, samples have to be sent to a laboratory for testing and patients and medics have to wait days for the result. Limited testing capacity and delay in confirming cases continue to be a challenge in Africa, worsening the spread of mpox that was previously known as monkeypox. Of the more than 30,000 suspected cases reported in Africa this year, barely 40% had been confirmed through a test, the WHO says. Yukiko Nakete, the WHO's Assistant Director General, described the new diagnostic test as a significant milestone. The breakthrough comes as the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where the highest number of cases has been reported, prepared to begin an mpox vaccination program on Saturday. Mpox, which is highly contagious disease, has killed at least 635 people in Congo this year. That does it for the focus on Liberia Daily News. I do a recap of the headlines. Civil Service Agency announced the immediate lifting of the ban on new employment and employee transfer between and within government entities. More than 200 inhabitants of Nimba County risk getting major illnesses as the creek used for drinking purpose is contaminated by rocks particles emitting from the Chinese quarry plant setup. Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations launches two-day knowledge sharing workshop to promote responsible agricultural investment and food systems among lawmakers. And away from home, the World Health Organization has approved the first diagnostic test for mpox where the results can be immediately known. On behalf of the management and staff of Focus on Liberia, many thanks to our listeners and viewers. We urge that you keep following us and share our videos. My name is Gwendolyn Dorado. I presented.